What's good, everybody, man? This is the weekly fantasy football segment. And I want to kick it off with the questions that people have for me before I dive into some of the trades and some of the things that I have done this past week. You guys know that I love to trade, and I always share my trades on my personal Twitter page. So WizKids, he was asking sleeper tight end. He says he thinks that it's the hardest thing to judge, or at least one of them. So his question is, what do you do at sleeper tight end? Who do you go ahead and grab? Now, there's guys that I like Irv Smith. There's guys that I like Logan Thomas. The Washington football team did not add any other notable tight end to come and take away targets from Logan Thomas. So that's a guy, that's a steal. I did a super flex draft, tight end premium draft, and I was still able to get Logan Thomas in like round 15 of a 30-round draft. That's great value. So I love somebody like that. Another sleeper you might want to consider are guys like Zach Ertz, guys like Gronkowski. Those are guys you can get towards the end of the draft, and they can still provide you week-to-week value based off of matchup. And we don't even know where Zach Ertz is going. So if you're playing Dynasty, he's a guy that you can go ahead and buy very, very low right now. So keep an eye out for Zach Ertz. Also, I mentioned Irv Smith. You know, we all know that Kyle Rudolph is gone. And Irv Smith has that chance to be the guy. There's also Conklin there. So Conklin and Irv Smith, I think it's going to be Irv Smith. He might ascend into that next notable tight end. Maybe not a great tight end. He could be in that offense, but he's definitely going to be a targeted piece and has a chance to get the third most targets outside of Thielen and Jefferson. So Irv Smith, keep an eye out for him. He's definitely going to be a guy that you can grab late in the draft. Also, I'm liking the Titans Anthony Ferguson. He's going to be, kind of like what Logan Thomas was last year. Time and opportunity creates results. So I'm not saying there's always going to be good results or great results, but you definitely want to get a guy like Ferguson just because he's going to be the starting tight end for the Titans. And then he's a very good pass catcher and can be a great one next year in that offense with Julio and A.J. Brown, Derrick Henry. Somebody needs to work that middle of the field, and I believe it's Anthony Ferguson. So that's another good sleeper tight end. I want to stop at those three: Logan Thomas, Irv Smith, and Ferguson of the Titans. Those should be enough for you, WizKids. So check out one of them, grab one of them, and just hope for the best. Oh, also, I want to add in a fourth guy, Tyler Higbee. Gerald Everett is gone, who could be another sleeper with Seattle, but Tyler Higbee could be a possible nice piece for your team because he's going to command a lot of targets. So you definitely want to check him. Question is from my guy, Luke Freitas. He's asking, what round do you grab Terry McLaurin? What round do you grab Antonio Gibson? So this is a four-part question. I'm going to start with part one. If you're going to draft Terry McLaurin in redraft, I won't say first round. I will not say second round because there's so much talent. There's 24 players that I believe can outproduce Terry. And then even if they don't outproduce Terry, running backs are still more valuable than wide receivers. So with that being said, in the third and fourth rounds are the places to target Terry McLaurin. I believe he's going to produce like a first-round wide receiver. I believe he's going to be a wide receiver one this year. He's going to be a top 12 wide receiver in fantasy football, meaning wide receiver one. So if it's me, I'm grabbing Terry McLaurin in the third round. Maybe if you're lucky in the fourth round. Last year, I was able to get Terry McLaurin in the fourth round because people were sleeping on him. This year, everybody's eyes is awake. Everybody's wide awake. So Terry McLaurin is probably going to go earlier. So I'm thinking in the third round. And if you're drafting with Washington football fans, you might have to go for him earlier than the third round. But I think third round is the perfect spot to grab a Terry McLaurin. Now, as far as Antonio Gibson, he's going to be a second rounder. He's going to be a second rounder this year because of upside. He finished as a top fantasy, running back last year. And this year, you're thinking second year in the system, more comfortable and more he's going to receive a lot of work in the passing game. So if it's me, I'm drafting Antonio Gibson in the second round in redraft, and then in Dynasty, you probably have to grab Antonio Gibson early in the second round. I mean, in startups, I've seen Antonio Gibson go as early as a top 15 pick, to be honest. Yeah, so Gibson has been going a lot early in redraft, and he continues to climb, and we've not seen preseason yet. As far as Terry McLaurin in Dynasty, it fluctuates. It fluctuates because it's all about what you're needing, and like I said, running backs are more important than wide receivers, especially young running backs. In the startup, you want to go for that first, second year back. So that way you know that they can be able to last for the next 5 to 7 years, then grabbing a guy like Henry and Kamara and some of these guys that have been in for a while, they're still going to last, but not as much as grabbing the Akers and people like that. So next question comes from my guy, Sack X Sports. He says, on a scale of 1 to 10, how likely is it that Daron Payne will make the Pro Bowl this coming season? On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to say 7. And 7 is pretty high. The only reason I say 7 is because if Jonathan Allen outproduces Payne, then Allen goes. But you also have Matt Ioannidis coming back. So actually saying 7 is nice. I'll probably say 6. Just because they're just so deep and anybody on that defensive line can produce. So I really can't say that Daron Payne makes the Pro Bowl this season. It's probably something that he can possibly do next season. So great question, Sack Experts. Next question comes from Who Cares Anyways? He says, is the rookie Brown worth a look in later rounds? I'm thinking rounds 8 to 11 maybe. And this is probably a redraft league, I would suppose. And most redraft leagues are what? 12 rounds, maybe 13, 14 max. So yeah, 8 to 11 might be a little bit too high. If it's a 14-man draft, he's going to go undrafted. He's not going to be a guy that you have to target in the draft. You can get Dyami Brown with the very last pick of your draft, even if it's a 14-man league, because nobody's going to draft a rookie that high. Last year, for example, Justin Jefferson went undrafted. Guys like Ruggs went undrafted. Ray Gore went undrafted. Brandon Ayuk went undrafted. So just goes to show you these wide receivers that produced so well went undrafted. This year, you're going to see like a Jamar Chase, and the Devontae Smiths of the world. Those guys are going to go about between rounds 8 to 11 in a 12 to 13 man. I mean, to a 12 to 13 round draft. So most rookies in redraft, those guys usually don't get drafted, or you get those guys late. People are going to go for the established guys, especially if you're playing the 12-man. If you're playing a 10-man, I can guarantee you that a lot of these rookies won't get drafted. So just keep your eye on the swivel and just make the best decision that's best for you. Now, if you're drafting with a lot of Washington football fans, then hey, but Dyami Brown in redraft, not so much value right now. Now, in Dynasty, I still won't even take him anywhere between 8 to 11. Even in a startup, he'll go a lot later. Now, in a rookie draft, Dyami Brown is going in the third round. I was able to get him in the third round. No, sorry, second round, second to third. Late second, early third. So that's where Dyami Brown is going right now in rookie drafts, in 5-round rookie drafts. But great question. The next guy, my guy AC, he says, what rookie would you take a flyer on and why? First rookie I'll take a flyer on is, what's the guy in Miami? What's his name? The speed surf. Why can't I think of the guy from Miami? Now I have to Google and put Miami Dolphins draft. This is just sad. The kid from Miami. I can't think of him. You know, why not? Like when I record, I don't like go back edit. I don't edit too much. So I'm not going to edit this. This is just going to show you guys that anybody can do this. And on top of that, I'm doing a video right now. So those of you guys that are watching on YouTube are going to be laughing. I just went blank. Jalen Waddle. Jalen Waddle is a wide receiver that I want to grab right away and take a flyer on him because he's back with Tua. He's reunited with Tua. He has a chance to do something special this year. And with Will Fuller being gone for those first 4 games, this is going to be his time to shine. This is going to be his time to work around the field. And although I consider him a deep threat at times, he can be a nice slot guy. He can be a guy that can run some actual routes and be used out the backfield. He's just a weapon. He's a guy that's a home run hitter every time you put the ball in his hands. And he also has a chance to return punts. And who knows, maybe he gets a punt or 2 or kickoff return this year to add more value to a player like Waddle. So let's just see what he does in Miami. I think he's the perfect fit out there. And he's just somebody that I'm buying right now, especially in Dynasty. In redraft, not so much because, like I said, rookies just don't really get drafted until they do something. But he's a guy that you can have at the end of your bench. And then who knows, maybe I'm not wishing Will Fuller injury, but if Will Fuller gets hurt, and he can be that guy that comes in, steps up, and does some damage. So, yeah, he's definitely a guy that I'm looking at. In Dynasty, Rashard Bateman. I'm going to talk about Rashard Bateman in just a second. But, yeah, Rashard Bateman is another guy that I like, another stash. In terms of redraft, what rookies I'm really going to go after, it'll have to be running backs. You know, I'm really liking Travis Etienne in PPR. I'm loving Najee Harris even in redraft. I'm taking Najee Harris in the 4th or 5th round. That's usually where I grab my rookie running backs, is in the 4th or 5th round of redraft leagues. And that's if, let's say I went wide receiver, tight end. And, you know, then I started looking for my running backs. And most times my running backs are 2 rookies. Like last year, I had Jonathan Taylor. I had Antonio Gibson. I had James Robinson. I mean, I had those rookie guys that came in and, you know, played very, very well. So those are some of the guys that I'm looking at. I don't want to really predict rookie stats and what rookies are going to do this year, but there's going to be some rookies out there like a Javonte Williams, Michael Carter. Michael Carter is probably one of the best values you can get right now. In redraft, if I can get a Michael Carter in the 6th round, that can be amazing because he might end up being a starting running back. 2 other guys that I'm looking at is Javonte Williams and also Trey Sermon. Both guys can end the season as the starter. So those are guys that you can buy later in redraft, stash them, and then once they take over, you got yourself a nice back to carry you to a championship type run. So those are my sleepers. Those are guys that I'm, you know, looking at and things of that nature. So, guys, let me go ahead and get into the trades that I've made recently. So I'm in a Superflex league. It's a money league. I needed help at quarterback. I traded a 1st-round pick for Jalen Hurts. That's just because I had Drew Brees. He retired. I have Jared Goff. I had Dalton, but Dalton, he's done. You know what I'm saying? He might start off the year as a starter. So Jared Goff and Jalen Hurts was not enough. And I offered a guy my next year's pick for Baker Mayfield. But instead, he countered and he wanted an extra first. So I gave him 2 firsts in, I think, 2023 and 2024 for Baker Mayfield. That works out perfectly for me because then I now have 3 quarterbacks that are starting, and, you know, I can rotate and play the bye weeks and things of that nature. Last year, I was hurt by the lack of not having enough quarterbacks. So this year, at least if I have a Baker Mayfield, he's going to last for a while in this league as a starter. And when you're playing Dynasty, you need quarterbacks that are going to last you 5 to 10 years. And it's hard to get a quarterback. So I figured since my team is so stacked, there's really nothing much that I need other than quarterback. So I can make that investment and give up my 1st-round picks to win a title this year and to win a title next year and for years to come. I should have won the title last year, but Christian McCaffrey got hurt. And then not only did I not win money in the 3rd round matchup, I mean in the 3rd place matchup, I came in 4th. Had the best team, had the best record, lost. You know, then I played again in the 3rd round match. I mean, in the 3rd place matchup and lost again and came in 4th place. But it helped me to get a higher draft position. So it's all good. But I say all this to say, I'm always looking for ways to improve my team. So this one guy had Mike Evans out on a block. You know, Mike Evans is in year 7, but every single year with the Bucs, he's always had 1,000 yards receiving every single year. So with Tom Brady, Mike Evans is still going to go crazy. You know, he's still going to go crazy. So I said, hey, what do you want from Mike Evans? This guy sends me a trade. He wanted Robbie Anderson and Rashard Bateman that I drafted in the 2nd round. Yeah. So Rashad Bateman and Robbie Anderson. Robbie Anderson is the guy I picked up last year for free. I tried to shop him around. Nobody wanted him. He did some nice things last year. So Robbie Anderson and Rashad Bateman for Mike Evans, sign me up all day long. So the way that my team looks in that league is my quarterbacks are Jalen Hurts, Baker Mayfield, and Jared Goff. Not the best, but I guarantee you guys, my quarterback room is one of the best in that league. I'm telling you right now. If you don't have quarterbacks in that league where quarterbacks score 40 to 60 points, you need quarterbacks. Then my running backs are Christian McCaffrey, Derrick Henry, Gus Edwards, Sony Michel, Ahmed from Miami, Dokes from Miami, and some other lesser pieces, Ty Johnson, and people like that. So obviously I can always add to my running back room, which is what I'm going to work on next. Wide receivers, I got Michael Thomas. I have now Mike Evans. I got Thielen. I got Cooper Kupp, Devontae Parker, Dyami Brown, Will Fuller. So that's a nice little wide receiver. Oh, DK Metcalf. Wow. So that's a nice little wide receiving group right there. And you can start up to 4 wide receivers in that league. So that helps. Tight ends, Noah Fant, Zach Ertz, and Gronkowski. So I'm pretty, I'll say it's a pretty stacked team. When you have a Derrick Henry and Christian McCaffrey, and then you got DK Metcalf, Michael Thomas, Mike Evans, you know what I'm saying, Thielen, Cooper Kupp, like what more do you want? So I think my team is ready to compete. Another way I can upgrade is if I trade one of my lesser wide receivers with Noah Fant to upgrade to get a Darren Waller or to upgrade to get. But I like Noah Fant. I traded a second-round pick to get him. I think he's going to bring tons of value. I think he's going to be a top 7 tight end this year. So, guys, this is the weekly fantasy segment. Hope you guys enjoyed it.